here's the way that I kind of quantified my success, in that I was part of a match consistently that helped put people in seats so the other guys on the card could feed their family. I just so happened to be in that spot. I could possibly have it just as easily been the other guy, but I was that guy. So whether I looked upon it as a lifelong dream, whether I looked upon it as a complete business opportunity, I looked at it in the middle, more towards the business opportunity, because I had a dream taken away from me and I had to find something to satiate that fucking void that I
from football
was missing. Yeah. The way you overviewed it was absolutely correct, I believe, but I think that I've given some more ammunition to people throughout the years saying that, I didn't like the business because of things that I've said about people in the business and some of my dealings with them, and, the emotional way that I kind of react to things, and, I think
How did the politics of WCW bode with you? Because...
Well,
it was different. House of Fire,
it was
then all
different.
Of a sudden, but then you learned your worth, and then all of a sudden,
But I never took advantage of my worth at WCW when I knew it, except for at the end. I remember one time that jersey. I was sitting in the stands that game.
And you're pointing at a Dallas Stars hockey jersey.
I was sitting in the stands. I was Brett Hull's guest with my brother Steve. And we were sitting with Brett Hull's wife. They're playing the New Jersey Devils, okay? And I had a commercial with Little Caesars that we were negotiating, and we were trying to get WCW to the table at the same time to renegotiate my contract. This was the big one. This was the one when Goldberg was Goldberg, and we knew what was going on. And so I'll never forget. I get the phone call from Barry Bloom that says, you have to be in Atlanta, Georgia to film the Little Caesars commercial by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm sitting in the freaking stands at Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. And for me, football's awesome, but, Stanley Cup. But what these guys go through to get that cup's unbelievable. So I'm sitting there, and so whatever, I get charter plane. I don't give a fuck, whatever it is. I'm staying at this game. So I said, Barry, I'll be there, 6 o'clock, whatever. So that's a completely different story about how I got that jersey and how I ended up drinking out of the cup that night with the people that were competing against the guy who I had tickets with for. I was drinking with New Jersey at the end of the night. And I was there with Dallas. So, it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. But anyway, needless to say, we flew to Atlanta, and I filmed the Little Caesars commercial. So to answer your question in a very long-winded way, that was one time when they want me to sign the whatever it was. And I get a phone call from Henry Holmes and Barry Bloom. Don't sign it. Whatever you do, don't sign it. If the commercial implies that you're eating this pizza without you signing it, you got him. I don't sign it. Ming and I are going through the commercial. We're wrestling. We look over. There's pizza. We sit down. We don't eat it, but the camera cuts away and it cuts back, and the pizza's half gone. Fast forward to my comeback. Megadeth's playing, and I'm in with John Taylor, my lawyer. And all of a sudden, I don't go out. We haven't gone to the table to do the contract. All of a sudden, we're sitting up in the monitor in the back room, and the commercial plays. And it shows me, and it shows the pizza, and he looks at me, and he says, we got him. That was it. That's the only time that I ever kind of understood that I had a little bit of power contractually and used it. I never used it. You asked originally about politics. I had a lot of power, quote unquote, in WCW at one point, but I always, and I'm not fucking baby facing bullshit. You know me by now. Yeah. I always felt bad about guys who have been in the business for 20 fucking years and they're jumping off a building for $20, and here comes Goldberg 6 months into the business, and I got the fucking belt and I'm making whatever. Okay? So as a businessman, if I had no fucking heart, then I wouldn't have given a shit, and I would have just said, you know what, my bank account's getting huge. Fuck these other schmucks. Put them in the back seat, and who cares about them? But I cared. Bobby Eaton. I wanted to put Bobby Eaton over at his hometown on his birthday in a dark match during my streak. They wouldn't let me do it. Nobody fucking tells you about that fucking story, but it's always Goldberg, he was selfish and he was this and that and he was a fucking blow. Fuck you. So I'll never forget. I think it was within my first 5 matches or 10 matches, I'm wrestling Barb. Barb and Ming were my mentors in a lot of ways, like the Steiners and in a way, Kevin. I go to the top rope with Barb. He belly to bellies me from the top rope. Whatever, fuck. I'm going to do whatever these guys want me to do because this is Barb, right?
Yeah, barbarian.
And I'm in the business for a very short period of time, but I know who he is. And as a man and as a human being, you got to respect this guy. This guy's a fucking big teddy bear, but he's a family man. He cares about people, and he can crush you with one fucking hand.
Yeah.
So I think that everybody's got my best interest at heart, right? So I do anything that anybody asks. So after the match, we're walking to the back. Bischoff runs up to me. He goes, "Don't you ever fucking do that again." I said, "What?" He goes, "Don't you ever go to the top rope and let anybody ever do that to you again." I said, "Why?" I mean, it's Barb. He'll take care of me. I mean,
well, it's logical. He's not only a big bad motherfucker. I mean, he's Barb.
Exactly.
So, but Bischoff was trying to protect you.
Exactly, which I completely understood from that promoter's standpoint. Right. But at the end of the day, I had power at times. I never used it maliciously. I saw shit that was going on with Rodman coming in, with Hogan and with Kevin and what all those guys were doing. And, hey, man, at the end of the day, just let Barry and Henry deal with the money, and I'll come in, I'll do my job, I'll shut up because I ain't a fucking booker. I'm not
a booker either.
I don't have any idea that's better than who am I to give an idea about who should beat me and who should, except for on logic. I based everything on logic. If you if you shot me with a howitzer and put Rey Mysterio on top of me and counted 1, 2, 3, I'm all good with that. But if you did something illogical, then that's when I'd say something.
Right.
Then that's when I'd put my foot down because I believed that if you're building this monster, then logic. I don't know the wrestling business, but logic's kind of going to tell me that if you put chinks in his armor along the way, in a goofy, satirical way, then that means the product, and you might as well have not built it in the first place.
When you said that you guys had them, meaning WCW, when the pizza commercial aired, how do you mean you had them at that point? From a leverage standpoint of negotiating because you were on the
absolutely
gimmick pizza commercial?
We're standing in the house that Little Caesars built.
Right.
We're looking at it. It's over there through the window.
Yeah.
So, yeah, leverage. That brought them to the negotiating table.